Deportiva y con swing.
Deportiva y con swing.
La factoría del deporte desde New York para ti. Es una máquina.
Es una máquina
Pensada para ti.
pensada para ti. Número uno en las redes, dale like y compartir.
Con informaciones importantes siempre frescas.
Y con entrevistas que te ponen de cabeza.
Lo mejor del deporte lo encontrarás aquí.
Búscale en las redes, dale like y compartir.
Suscríbete,
Ahí sí,
infórmate.
ok. Dale a la campana para que te llegue.
Ed Randall leading us off. Ed, please unmute.
I just wanted to ask about double standards. Is there a concern about double standards
With what regard?
with regard to because Rachel is a trailblazer, she's now a historic figure, Kevin. And is there a concern, given the built-in animus against women in this industry for years until now, which fortunately seems to be melting? Is there a concern of yours about that?
I'm not really concerned. I mean, anybody who just listened to that interview right there, you know that she's extremely qualified, and any questions about why we made this move, I think she answered them all. And I think, you know, we have a support system in place with some of the staff that have, you know, helped bring her in, helped recommend her into this position, and all of those things that, combined with the buy-in that she already has from players, I don't really have any concerns on that regard.
And if I could just follow up, 10 years ago, could you have imagined this in your career?
I don't think so. You know, I mean, I've gotten to work with Gene and some of the people that Rachel mentioned before, you know, and there's no reason that this shouldn't have been considered in the previously, but, you know, there weren't necessarily as many opportunities for people, men even, you know, that didn't have a playing background. And I think more and more of those people are showing up today and showing that they have a lot of value. But yeah, I wouldn't have thought of it until a few years ago, but I think it's a no-brainer at this point.
Thanks so much.
Move next to Ken Davidoff. Ken, go ahead.
Hey, Kevin. Just wondering if you could just walk us through. I mean, Rachel gave her version of events on how this transpired. Just you know, from your perspective, like, when did you start thinking about this specific fit for Rachel for 2022?
Yeah, I mean, we have, I think, roughly 300 people that are, you know, at the complex at peak capacity, and, you know, a lot of staff members, a lot of players that have interactions, and, you know, constantly we're trying to kind of weigh, you know, what people are doing, what they could be doing differently, what, you know, what value they bring, and you know, the feedback was always positive on Rachel, and I think, you know, some of the things she talked about, you know, leadership, competitiveness, you know, her vast and broad knowledge of a lot of different areas. Mario Garza, Eric Schmidt, a number of my crew here, you know, we talk about a lot of different possibilities with different people in different roles at different levels and things like that. But, you know, the funny thing, and I've talked with a number of people about, like, hey, was this tough? Was there a lot of debate? And, like, everybody was on board. Like, there's very small moves where we have heated discussions that, but this is about her qualifications and her ability to lead, and you know, it was relatively quick. I think the toughest part was probably, you know, talking her into it, and you know, kind of selling her on the opportunity and what it was going to look like and how we were going to try to help. And once she was all in, it's been smooth since.
Yes, Kevin, if I will get fined by the Kangaroo Court if I don't ask about Jason Dominguez every time I get a chance. Just if you could just update us on, you know, on how you assess his 2021 and what you're thinking for 2022.
Yeah, I mean, 2021 was a difficult year for everybody, just kind of coming off of the off season, and, you know, I mean, everywhere he goes, he's turning heads, you know, with the things that Rachel also mentioned, you know, his ability to connect with people, his ability to lead at such a young age, the exit velos, the speed, you know, some of the measurables that we do on our performance science side, like, it's all off the charts, and we just want to get him to play more baseball. Like, I think that all of the skill is there, all of the ability is there. we're extremely excited about what he's going to do in 2022 as well.
Do you see him starting at low A, or is that something that comes, after the spring in terms of where he starts?
We haven't really discussed in great detail where he's going to start, but we're hoping to get spring training rolling and get guys in, and then we'll start to have those conversations.
Thanks, Kevin.
Lindsay Adler, please unmute.
Hi, Kevin. I'm wondering if you could kind of walk us through when you started thinking differently about what your affiliate managers needed to do and what they needed to be, and sort of the way that you've seen the role change over the last few years.
That's a long conversation, dating back to my playing days, other people that, work in this organization that played, and their experience with managers. Rachel mentioned like being a facilitator and working with the staff. And as you look at, major league staffs have grown, the support staffs have grown, the number of, trainers and strength coaches and on-field staff members have all grown. And that's, you're becoming, somebody that's managing those relationships and holding those people accountable and doing those things. And so at the same time, on the minor league side, the staffs have grown. We still have managers that have some level of or area of expertise, whether it's, defensively. This is kind of the first time that we've had a person with a hitting background to be a manager. But just trying to also prepare minor league managers to become, get back into that pool of major league manager candidates, which used to be really normal a number of years ago, and it kind of has disappeared a little bit. They've become more candidates to become coordinators, support staff, bench coaches, and things like that. But hoping to flip the script on that a little bit more and have minor league managers be in the conversation, because it's a very similar job to what they might experience at the major league level.
Cuddy, I'm going to have you skip over a couple guys because you have a Christmas tree in the background. Please unmute.
It's always Christmas in here. Kevin, you talked about how convincing Rachel was one of the most difficult parts of the whole situation. How did you do that?
Well, started with Dylan, who has a great relationship with Rachel, and helped bring her over to the Yankees, and kind of kicked it around myself, Eric Schmidt, Mario Garza, talked through the ideas and how we were gonna do it. But it was really, a casual conversation with myself, Eric, and Dylan, and just kind of talking through, hey, no, this might seem like a different idea, but here's why we think you'll be really good at it. Here's how we see it going, and a four-way conversation, questions asked and answered, and I don't know how to describe it any more than that. It was just talking through what we see managers as now, what we see them as in the future, and all the things that we think will make her a great manager.
And along the lines of what Ken was saying, we have an opportunity to get you on a Zoom. We want to also ask about your prospects. Where do you see the areas that Anthony Volpe needs to improve going into next season? Obviously, he broke out last year, but just what do you see for next year for him?
Well, yeah, he broke out in just about every way, and there's always the next challenge at the next level. And, that next level for him is to go to AA and hopefully, continue to have that type of success. There's things with his preparation, as we kind of build guys up throughout the minor leagues that we're going to kind of turn on a few different things as to the advanced process and things like that. So those are challenges. The pitching gets better. The runners get faster in some cases, and, the game speeds up a little bit, but he's been a guy that has handled that all really well at a young age. And, from the scouting department coming in, they all told us that was going to be the case. And so far so good. So just continuing on that path, continuing to work with our hitting staff, with our defensive staff, and hopefully making an impact in the big leagues soon.
Thank you.
Go to Mark Topkin.
Also, it's real and it's spectacular.
It is, yeah, it's fantastic. Mark Topkin is the complete opposite background. I'm worried about him. Mark, go ahead.
Very boring background here in St. Pete. Hey, Kevin, I'm not sure this is an either or, but how much of this was Rachel ready for this opportunity, and how much of it is baseball ready to have a woman manage in this situation?
There wasn't a ton of debate as to whether baseball was ready or we were, the world was ready. Like, it was just, we're trying to find the best people and put them in their best positions to have a huge impact here. And that was the only question that we really asked. You know, it wasn't, and I think, you know, when Jason and I started talking about it, he was like, man, we should have talked about this sooner. And like, this is just putting a really good employee into a, you know, an elevated position and hoping and that it's going to go really well, you know, just like it is with every hire. So I don't know if that answers the question, but that was the thought process.
Sweetie Murdy. Go
Hey,
ahead.
Kevin, have you made any decisions on your other managerial posts?
We obviously hadn't announced this one. There are a couple pieces of the puzzle still being worked on, so we're hoping to be able to announce all that really soon.
Is David Adams was at Tampa last year? Is he still in your organization?
He is. Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Go
That's
next
it,
to
Sweeney.
Yeah.
Short and
Don't
easy.
give him a second chance, Kev. Jake Seiner, go ahead.
Hey, Kevin. When Rachel was talking before, she mentioned that when you guys spoke about the position, she was, you know, asking you for support and for room to make mistakes. I'm just curious from your end, kind of what does that look like? Are there areas in particular that you're curious to see how she grows now that she's in this role? And is any of that different than it might be for a different first-time manager you might put into a role like that, either because of her gender or more likely maybe because of the attention that's going to come along with all that?
Honestly, the biggest difference, and I think the biggest area that we're just going to have to work through is that she's going to continue to help on the hitting side where we haven't had any managers do that. And, you know, the location of that happening and the time and the amount of time that hitters like to be in the cage and things like that while maintaining the manager duties. I think that's going to be a little bit of the biggest thing for her to work through. But, you know, I know there will be attention. I know that she handles that very well. I'm not concerned about that. And, you know, plenty of players that come through there bring a lot of attention as well. So I think that that'll be good for them to, you know, to see that, to deal with that. You know, in the Florida State League, sometimes we don't have the biggest crowds, but hopefully some media members will help that attendance as well.
We'll go next to Howard Megdal, and then we'll bring Brian Cashman aboard.
Thank you. And Kevin, thanks for taking the time. Just curious, kind of from the opposite perspective of what we're talking about. Obviously, Rachel clearly is qualified for this opportunity. But so much of the time we see limitations on how women advance in baseball because the pipelines aren't seeded. And I just wonder how you think about this as an opportunity to help rectify that by providing additional opportunity.
We talk a lot with employees about what their paths are, and you know, kind of Rachel mentioned like a traditional path of whether it's a general manager or, you know, a farm director or a major league manager. If you look around, like, I don't think there are too many traditional paths. Like, people have bounced around from scouting to player development to analytics. You know, a lot more people with analytics backgrounds are becoming general managers and things like that. And you know, when you look for the common qualities, it's often smart people that can handle a lot of different things and can work with people and you know, players, specifically speaking to like on-field staff, players are really smart. Players are a lot smarter than they were when I was playing. There's a lot more information out there. There's different coaches that you have access to where, you know, we grew up listening to our high school coach only, and then your college coach, and then your minor league manager or hitting coach or things like that. There's just so much more information that players, I think, are more accepting of people that will help them. And it doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter where they came from. You know, you sit down with them and you find out whether they can help you or not. And in a lot of cases, it happens very quickly. And so, you know, I think that this will open the door to future opportunities. But we're excited about this one now.
And if I just sneak in a quick one, David Garcia, just in terms of where he is, in terms of an update, how you get him back on track, obviously.
He's 40, man.
Jay-Z.
He's 40, man. Can't touch that, Howard.
Oh, never mind. Disregard.
Connor Foley, we'll take a last one from you and we'll move forward with Brian Cashman.
Hey, Kevin, just wondering, how has seeing how Rachel has kind of fit seamlessly into what you guys do. How has that changed who you might look for in the next group of people that you're looking to hire?
Hopefully positively, in that, any people that have reservations about, non-traditional background or whatever it might be, will be more open to those things. But I mean, the people that she's had the opportunity to work with, we have a few others that have, non-traditional backgrounds that are working in different departments. And I, again, go back to who can help players, who can teach, who can connect, and those types of things. And those are the answers we're looking for, more so than, what is somebody gonna, look at from the outside and be worried about whether it's gonna work or not.
Ron Blum, is your hand up for Kevin Reese, or are you trying to get pole position for Brian Cashman?
For Cash.
All right. Don't take it personal, Reese.
That's all right.
Kev, thanks for the time.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. We have Brian Cashman, I believe, somewhere on here.
What's up? What's up? My name is Spike Lee here, my man O'Neal. We're at Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena in Nueva York. The New York Knickerbockers are playing the world champion Golden State Warriors. And right now, there goes Steph Curry doing his drill.